These is the complete 9. I think I'm missing one. I think I'm missing one. But it was like this is what happened. I'm gonna explain the context, right? I was 18 years old. My 19th birthday was on May 22nd. Probably this was what, 2019 probably, or 2020. I don't fucking know, right? But listen, I think it was like post quarantine. Like quarantine had already been, so it was probably 2020, May 2020. And I was gonna get a tattoo, right? I was gonna get the tat was gonna cost me like 300, 400, right? 350, because I was gonna get some art or some shit like that. And I remember I had always been questioning, like, yo, financial literacy, like, it's something. I wasn't a finance major in college. It wasn't something that was taught to me in high school. I didn't really have, like, I mean, I had my mentor at this time who was a financial advisor who I actually work with now, but it wasn't enough for me. Like, I still wanted more. Like, I wanted more answers about money, about how to handle money, how to invest money, what to do with my money, where to put my money, why to put it there. I wanted to be able to do that for myself, right? And actually, I have a book behind me that my mentor recommended, but it wasn't a part of this 9. But let me get to the story of how I got to this 9, right? So what I said was, I said, instead of getting that tattoo, right, which was going to cost me $350, somewhere between $350 to $400, right? I don't know what made me do such a spontaneously random thing. I said, yo, instead of getting that tattoo, I'm going to make it a goal of mine. Since May is like literally the beginning of the summer, I'm going to make it a goal of mine to read 10 books this summer in 2 months. And I think I did 8 out of 10. Like, it's 2 I didn't finish because, like I told you, I was skimming through them. I didn't really, like, a lot of the information kind of started to repeat. So I think I went like 7 or 8 out of the 10, right? Now, here's the list of books. This one was not on the list. This was one that I ended up getting after, but it was a great book because the first 100 pages were literally charts recognizing patterns, which I used to make money. I turned $100, right? When I was reading these books, I started to want to apply what I learned. I turned $100 to 800 trading options. Now I lost that money again because then I found out, like, okay, this trading shit is not just analyzing charts and knowing what to do. It's psychological. So I lost the money. But I ended up getting the money back anyway. But like I said, I turned $100. I was like, listen, let me put some throwaway money in it. And it was $100 for me. I turned 100 to 830 and I can prove it. I can pull up the screenshots and everything right now, chat. I would have to go back to that time period to show y'all. But I showed, like, this shit worked for me. And I was pretty decent at trading stocks and stuff. So... But then this was a great book, but it wasn't a part of that 10. It just was really one of the ones. Here was one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Everybody knows about this one. Richest Man in Babylon. Good joint right here. The Millionaire Next Door. Great book right here. Okay, this wasn't all just about stocks and money. I was learning about investments, period. This one was Long Distance Real Estate Investing. How to buy, rehab, and manage out-of-state rental properties. This one was Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits. This is a harder read. I'll be honest. This is a harder read. So some of these other books you want to read first. You don't want to just jump into a book like this. This was one of the ones. This was also, I think this one was a harder read too, if I remember correctly. These 3 books, actually these 3 alone, I would not make sure that I read these 3 first. Like, these are harder reads. I'm not gonna lie. And they're only harder because, like, the language and all that shit, like, it gets real in depth. But they're useful. Okay, ads. Now we gotta wait for the ads. He said niggas wrote it in Chinese. No, I'm not even joking. Like, I remember that shit being like, damn, like, hold on, a couple pages I had to read twice. You know, go back to, like, whoa, what the fuck going on here? How the hell did I close my Twitch, John? Let me open that back up. I also didn't see if the emote was working for y'all. Yeah, I see it in the chat. I see it. Yeah, I see it. put the first three up real quick. I'm gonna screenshot. I'm actually gonna pick out. You should just probably be clipping this, or the vibe will be posted. But I'm gonna pick out the ones that I think is the most impactful out of the 10. But y'all, let me know when the ads is done. And I'm gonna ask them what's the last thing that they seen. Any books you're reading right now? I'm gonna show you my like most 4 recent pickups. I be ordering books every fucking day damn near. Bro, like I be. I got too many fucking books in this bitch, man. These are like the 4 most recent books that I've been reading. I already started this one and didn't finish it because I was using it to read while I was traveling. So I actually need to get back to it. I got like 70. Do I want to say 70? No, actually, it's not even 70 pages long. I got like 20 something pages in, but the words is very small in that one. So it was one of the ones. And this one from a podcast I was watching. This is Michael Jackson's like autobiography, John, and this is Meditations oriented. These are the last 4 books I've probably ordered. I might be missing like 2, but I'll tell you, I need fucking. I literally need another bookcase. But chat, let's focus. Let's focus. Let's focus. Let's focus. Are the ads done? Is audiobooks valid? I'm going to say no. Because one of my professors actually went out his way to tell us that. Like, reading, he brought up the fucking proof of what he was talking about. When you read on a electric screen and when you listen to an audiobook, it's not the same. Now, I have audiobooks. Like, there are books. I remember it was one book. Like, remember I told you I made that 100 turn into, I used that 100 turn into 800. And I was like, oh shit, this is like low-key, like, it's a psychological aspect to trading. I found a book on that, and it was an audiobook, and I just remember I just didn't have the same type of interest. But overall, what's the last thing y'all saw? What's the last book y'all saw before the ads ran? Like audiobooks, if you listen to it while you driving, while you working out, I guess. But when I read, I like to make sure my mind is focused on what I'm reading. Like I don't want it to be background noise. The one up on Wall Street. Again, I said that these 3 were harder reads. This one, and this one. When a nigga say name 5 books, we should start at 50. Fuck they talking about. But this is definitely a harder read. This is it's thick. The words is tiny, and this book don't fuck around. This book do not fuck around at all. What were the first 2? We already went past like 6. Or 5, I think. Again, y'all know this is like one of my favorite books I've ever read in my life. Because it mixes spirituality with money. And it's really one of them ones right here. This is one of them ones. If you've already read it from my recommendation, shout out to you. But if you have not, start with this. No, actually, you know what? If I could go back and tell myself what to do, this is also one of them ones. This guy right here. Spiritual J, I appreciate the 2 months. This dude, Ray Dalio.
Yes, God.
What? God is crazy. Easy Bucks, I appreciate the 6 months. This dude, Ray Dalio, had at the time, I don't know if it's still true to this day, but this is pretty recently actually, one of the number 1 hedge fund in the world, or at least in America. And he was like the top 100 richest men in the world because he was worth like 50 billion or something like that. He one of them ones. And he goes in detail, in detail. And it's like, you know, it's some pictures in there for you niggas that, well, it's not a bunch of pictures, but let me watch this. Well, I'm gonna read one of my favorite parts from the book because I still had it written when I was reading this shit. If you are disappointed because you can't be the best person to do everything yourself, you are terribly naive. Nobody can do everything well. Would you want to have Einstein on your basketball team? When he fails to dribble and shoot well, would you think badly of him? Should he feel humiliated? Imagine all the areas in which Einstein was incompetent. And imagine how hard he struggled to excel even in the areas which he was the best in the world. Watching people struggle and having others watch you struggle can elicit all kinds of ego-driven emotions such as sympathy, pity, embarrassment, anger, or defensiveness. You need to get over all of that and stop seeing struggle as something negative. Most of life's great opportunities come out of moments of struggle. It's up to you to make the most out of these tests of creativity and character. When encountering your weaknesses, you have 4 choices. Should I read the 4 choices? Y'all see how good this fucking book is? Should I read the 4 choices? This is like my favorite part of this book. And this book like 500 pages long, bro. 530 something. Number 1, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna get the book now. No. Do not read this first. Do not read this first. Do not have this be the first one you read. Do not. Because also like this, it's broken up into parts. And like the second half of the book tells you how to run a business. And it tells you how to, but like I'm just telling you, like, it gets very specific. Like work principles. This like 3, it's like parts to the book. Work principles, and it gets very specific. I'm telling you, bro, this one of them ones. Number 1, when encountering your weaknesses, you have 4 choices. You can deny them. Which is what most people do. It has in parentheses. Number 2, you can accept them and work at them in order to try to convert them into strengths. Now, you done heard Steve say this, right? My weaknesses are my strengths, and my strengths are my weaknesses. And we talked about what that meant. Because if you lean on your strengths, right, and only your strengths, that's your weakness now. Because I could just, if I attack you in an area that you're not strong in, you're only used to leaning on your strengths. And actually, your weaknesses can become your strengths if you use them to your advantage. Come on now, we think deeper in this motherfucker. Come on now. And for number 2, right, it says you can accept them and work at them in order to try to convert them into strengths. Parentheses, it says, which might or might not work depending on your ability to change. So I'm going to emphasize that. Number 3, you can accept your weaknesses and find ways around them. Or number 4, or you can change what you are going after. So like instead of Einstein trying to play basketball, he went to physics. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of them ones. Like I said, if I picked out where books I would recommend out of this whole stack, right, for financial literacy and shit like that, these have helped me. And like I said, I can show y'all 200 bands on any given day. And there's niggas that make more than me that can't do it. Listen, and then that's just starting at 200. These books have got me there. These books have allowed me to capitalize my income and sit comfortably if I want to. Now, I'm not saying, having $250,000 or $500,000 is comfortable at all. That's not where my ceiling is at for me personally. I'm just saying that if I got hit with some bad news financially, I can survive it. And some of these books, not even some of them, these books have helped that. So what's a good starter book? That's what I'm about to do. I'm about to point out the ones that I would recommend starting at, because some of these are harder to read than the others. Y'all already know.
With the game on the line.
I did not mean to press that. But I'm going to pull out the ones that's like, all right, you want to start with these. And there's 3 of them. I'm gonna do a 3, I guess, out of these financial literacy Johns. Y'all should already know this. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's one of the ones. Everybody recommends it. You know what I'm saying? This number 1 for me. Number 1. 1,000%. 1,000%. And then this one is short and easy. So if you struggle to read more than 15 minutes, or you feel like you're bad at reading, but the language in this one is kind of weird because it's supposed to be from old times. So it might make you think that the book is weird, but it's written in old times. So let me like find an example, because I done wrote in these books all types of shit. Like this is how it words sentences. The second remedy, right? Look at how this shit is. The second remedy: control thy expenditures. Like, bro, they wrote this shit like this shit is fucking Shakespearean. Hear ye, hear ye. It's one of those books, Chad. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those books. So look at this sentence. Look at how this worded. That which each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow equal to our incomes unless we protest to the contrary. Do y'all fucking know why I highlighted that sentence? Do y'all know why that shit is so important? Let me know if that didn't make sense, because that's one of the most important fucking sentences in this fucking book. This is also the same book that had the advice that said, get jewelry advice from a jeweler, get health advice from a doctor, get sneaker advice from a shoemaker. Like, you need to know who to go to for what. It's like we try to ask our parents for everything, or we try to go to a mechanic and ask him about plumbing. Like, he's a mechanic, so go to a mechanic for mechanic advice. Go to a plumber for plumbing advice. Don't mix the two. No, I don't understand. Okay, that's good. That's good, right? Read it again. I'm gonna read it again. Then we're gonna explain it. I'm not gonna go through all these books, but remember, I told y'all start with these three. These are good starters, and it'll already have you in good shape before you open those other books. Now, some of these, I ain't gonna lie, you don't want to read some of these unless you're actually trying to put money in the stock markets and profit. And I told y'all, and I could bring up the receipts of when I turned $100 to $800 because of applying some of the shit that I learned in these books. And I talk about which ones contributed to that if you are serious about making money in the stock market and being able to do some shit like that. A bit better than if you gamble or you bet on sports. I'll just add that. Now listen, the sentence was, that which each of us, or let me read the front. So the whole point of this chapter, right, is control thy expenditures, meaning, like, if you spend a lot of money, be careful about it. Like, control your spending. That's what it's about. And it says, that which each of us calls our necessary expenses. That part just means what you think is important for you to buy. Like, what you call necessary. Oh, I gotta have my McDonald's. I gotta have my Nikes. I gotta have my internet. I gotta have my t-shirt, right? That whatever you think is necessary. It said, will always grow to equal our incomes. So if I think I need, right, somebody says Starbucks, Netflix, right, necessaries, right? Now, it's not even just about wants versus needs, because it's about expenses, period. And we all have different things that we think we need. Like, I might need Netflix. I might actually sit back and enjoy some shows. But I might not need this, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about spending money on bullshit. Here's where it's about to hit. It said it will always grow to equal our incomes unless we protest to the contrary. This is the most important part. The more money you make, like if you're surviving off of $3K a month, $5K a month, $7K a month, $8K a month, and you have your needs, or your wants, things that you spend, your wants and your needs, things that you spend money on, that shit will increase the more your income increases. Unless you are intentional about controlling that. That's the point of that, what it's saying. And that's true. Because you can find me a $3,000 car and you can find me a $3 million car. There's money to be spent at every level. Every level has a way for you to blow money. There's a $300,000 house and there's a $30 million house. So there's always money to spend. There's restaurants that you can, 2 for $20. I don't know if that's still a thing, but you can get a 2 for $20. And there's restaurants they'll give you 2 forks for $200. Not even the food. The forks alone cost $200. You see what I'm saying? So that shit it's about that on every level. And recognizing that shit not going to stop you from being a dickhead with some money. All right, y'all. I just dropped that shit. All right, I'm going to put those back later. All right, chat. Yeah, there we go. No, I didn't fall. My book. The top 2 books fell off. Chili's and Applebee's, they still exist. Right, I didn't know. I personally don't eat out that often. I order a lot of food, though. The amount is you spend on your wants is going to grow the more you make, unless you're calculated and precise. Right, unless you budget. That's what it's called, having a budget. Like knowing how much money that you have to fuck around with every month. For me, I give myself 10% of what I pay myself to fuck around. Why? Because I put more money into my savings. I put more money into investing. So I keep my spending down to 10%. I can make it 20 for all I care. I can make it 30. But I keep that category low because I'm not really on I don't really give a fuck.